All right, y'all, let's break it down like this. A year ago, maybe even 2 years ago, Woody McCain was speaking on Kane's character and his relationship with Monet, and he said Kane went through some traumatizing stuff when he was a kid, right? Some things that kids shouldn't have to go through. And Monet was there for him when he really needed her. Fast forward to episode 9 of Power Book 2 Go Season 4. Kane, with a gun in his face, forced to pick a side between his new life that he would have with Noma and Noma's family, right? Possibly a partner, and between his own mother. Kane looked Noma in the face and said, "Don't you understand why I'll never turn my back on my mom?" Growing up as a young kid in these streets is treacherous. It's treacherous, it's not safe, right? People be out here hurting kids. My mother was there for me when I couldn't protect myself. You guys know what that means, right? Whether we admit it or not, we all have either lovers who've been abused as children, past lovers, or have future lovers who we will find out were abused as children, right? Some of this happened to our parents, right? We are going to find out, right? Some of us ourselves have been abused as children, touched the wrong way, right? Been invited to see things that we weren't supposed to see at such a young age, been exposed to things that we were not supposed to be exposed to. Especially when you're growing up and you in a single parent household, or you just in the hood, or you somebody who your father's not around and your mother has to work 2 jobs, so you gotta be babysat by the wrong family member or the wrong neighbor, the wrong family friend. This happened to Kane, right? And when you be logical about the situation, right? There is a reason for the hyper masculinity that goes on amongst black men, especially who come from the same background that Kane comes from. Even though they won't admit it, a lot of these men have been through things that Kane only hinted about. And if we don't get a flashback on it, that's cool, because this is too deep, right? It's too emotional. I don't think I even would want to see a flashback of some guy or some chick taking advantage of a young Kane, right? But it's clear that that's what happened to Kane. So when you see Kane be this person who was very protective of his mother, who saved him when he was in the most vulnerable position he ever been in, when you understand why Kane goes so hard to make sure he'll never be that vulnerable again, when you see why he goes so hard with family, right? As he learned from his dad, because most likely Lorenzo Sr. was not there when these things were going on. You understand why Kane is the person who he is, and it's so relatable because we all know people who have gone through this, right? These types of crimes against young kids is the least exposed, right? This crime has most likely the lowest conviction rate, the lowest arrest rate, because for whatever reason, they always get saved, right? And not to poke fingers at the woman, and I'm gonna get to Drew, right, while you're listening, right? But not to point fingers at the women in the family when this thing happens, but a lot of times these happen in single parent households. Not to mention the fact that sometimes the father's a dirtbag. He is there and he is the one, right, harming the children. right? Boys or girls. But this is something that we're all very, very, very familiar with, right? Something happened to Cain. Monet was there to deal with it. But now when it comes to Drew, and depending on who you are, what I'm about to say is going to be controversial. But I'm going to say it because I know a lot about how these things happen. Some of these things have happened to women who I've dated. Some of these things have happened to stand-up gentlemen that I know. And also quite a lot of gay people, not taking any shots, of course, right? Because they were all victims. But quite a lot of people who live the alternative lifestyle, if they're honest with you and they can trust you, they will tell you that they were abused in some kind of way as a child. So what I'm suggesting here is that if they go into detail about whatever happened to Cain as a youth, it's likely that this same person who had access to Cain had access to Drew as well. Being that they would have been around each other all the time, and it would have been Monet who told Cain, oh, you're going outside, take your brother with you. Oh, watch your brother. You're gonna be with your brother and your sister, right? You have to watch them. You have to protect them, right? Cain may even find out that he never knew the same person, male or female, right? And to make it more dramatic, it'll probably be a male if they go into detail with that in the final episode of the season. We are likely to find out that the same person who abused Cain abused Drew as well. And here's the correlation that's going to be controversial, but if people be honest, right, we will get to the bottom of it and we will understand, because I know this personally, right? Because I know people. The same person who did something to Cain probably was around Drew, did something to Drew too, right? And that contributed to Drew being a homosexual. Not taking any shots against the gays or anything, but I know that there's a large portion of people, and I'm gonna say majority, I don't care who takes it any kind of way, I'm not making shots, I'm just bringing attention to how things go in the world based off of what I see. Based off of people who I've spoken to, based off of stories of people who live a certain lifestyle that I see on the internet, which is that a lot of these people, right, God bless their hearts, but when they were younger, things happened to them, and then when they grew up, they happened to be living the alternative lifestyle. I feel like the power writers should do this, regardless of what controversy that comes, because it will put a light on the people who do the abusing and the effect that it has on children. Now, if they don't do it, they don't do it. I would feel like it's an opportunity that they missed. But I think we could possibly see Cain have a conversation with Drew, and Cain bring up such and such person and say, yo, this person did this to me. And we could possibly see Drew just say, yeah, they did it to me too. And they may not even expound on whether he end up becoming, right, someone who lives the alternative lifestyle because of it, right? Because that may be too much to say. That might be triggering, you know, for the real people in real life who've been through that, right? And might not want to see that. But I feel like they may lightly touch on it. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Can't teach that shit, nigga. Come on. That's God gifted. That's touched by an angel. That's on the dome, nigga.